What's going on, everybody? It's the Infantry Life here. Real talk time. A while back we had some youngins, some young bucks, ask if I could make a video for, I guess, parents of people who are wanting to join the military, and they have parents who think that they shouldn't join. They think either they're going to come back crazy or with PTSD, they're going to come back fucked up, they're going to come back just, different person overall, or that it's just a job with no real world value coming out of it. They should go to college instead. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I guess here I'm just going to go ahead and give you my personal opinion, looking back at my time served and looking at what I've been able to accomplish since I've got out, and go from there. So let's do this. So I'd probably say the first thing that most parents are going to worry about, mothers especially, is that they're going to lose their little boy, or nowadays little girl. Lose them, by that I mean they're going to die or get so messed up they might as well be dead. I'd say chances are pretty slim. That's a valid concern to have, but at what point are you going to stop? Give your kids some slack. Give a little lead to their leash and let them go. Start making their own decisions, their own mistakes, and just their own choices in life, because that's the ultimate goal, I think, as a parent, right? You raised them up good through their youth, as good as you could, because sometimes we don't listen too well, but there comes a point where you got to let them make a decision for themselves. And I know a lot of parents will be like, well, you got to go to college. That's just the only way you're going to get a good job. Well, I mean, if you look at the economy and the market today, job-wise, there's a lot of kids graduating college right now that are just sitting around with fancy pieces of paper in their hands that say, hey, I got a degree in social studies, or just whatever, just random ass degree that you're going to get going out of college, and they don't have a job. They're living in parents' basements. There's apparently a lot of millennials right now that are like immediately, once done with college, back in their parents' basement, living at home, saving money, I guess, to try and pay off their massive student loans that they have. So there's that. If you join the military, you pay your $100 a month for the first year that you're in. You get a GI Bill that's going to pay for like a full 4-year ride in school for $1,200. It's pretty fair trade, I'd say. And you'll look at a lot of veterans who have already served and gotten out, and they put those degrees to good use, and now they're flourishing because of it. Yes, there are some of us who have issues getting out, some of us who don't adapt well, reintegrate into society well, and it's sad. Luckily, they're finally starting to get a lot of resources out there to help them, and I think the big thing with them is just having people that they served with that they can talk to on a regular basis. Because I've noticed for me, those are really the only people that I talk to on a daily basis, are people I was in the military with. It's just a different kind of friendship, I suppose. But, kind of rambled off there for a second. The whole worrying about your kid getting hurt, totally understandable. Your kid could walk out the door tomorrow and get hit by a car. I could walk out the door in the next 20 minutes and have a plane fall out of the sky on me, right? Far-fetched, but that's kind of the same logic you're using. If you go and you follow your training, and it's good training that you end up getting in the military, if you get hit, you get hit. That's just dumb luck a lot of times, because for the most part, you're not going to be put into a situation that's a oh shit situation, we fucked up. So I wouldn't be so worried about that. As far as the PTSD, the mental issues that come along with going into combat, honestly, from what I've seen, and again, this is all just my personal opinion, but when it comes to PTSD and things like that, that was probably there to begin with. That mental toughness, we don't know until we experience it. You watching this video could have it. You could go through something and it's gonna break you a little bit. There's no saying that everybody who's got PTSD is just completely broken and useless the rest of their lives. That's not the case. There's a lot of people who have found the right channels to go through and started talking to people and started rehabilitating and getting back to, at least some semblance of the way they used to be. So that's just that. I think I kind of compare that to how am I going to react the first time somebody shoots at me, or the first time we get attacked. People talk big game, and a lot of that's bravado and boys being boys and trying to be tough, but like I told them, you don't know. Like, I don't know. This was prior to deploying. You just don't know how you're going to react. You can't say you do. You like to think that you do, but you don't. All you basically are saying to yourself is, and I think anybody would say the same thing, is I just hope I don't freeze up. I hope I don't fail my buddies. Right? So that's kind of along the same lines of the PTSD. You can't predict whether or not you're going to get it. I don't think. I think it just comes down to each individual's mindset and just how the things they've gone through in life, how they're brought up, and just them, the way their brain is wired personally, on how they're going to handle it. So that's not really a valid excuse too. It's also kind of a lottery situation. Going on to another point, I guess. I've kind of covered these in other videos, but since this is more specifically made just to kind of, hopefully there's some parents out there watching this and realizing that we're not all fucked up when we get out. Yes, I might swear, but I swore before I went in. I think it's just a word, and that's that. I think people get a little worked up over it for no reason, but it doesn't change who I am. Doesn't change that I hold the door for old ladies, say sir or ma'am, things like that. It's who I am. And going from when we were in the infantry, it was just nothing but dudes. People are generally swearing on a pretty steady basis, and nobody bats an eyelash to it, because that doesn't make who you are. It's the job you do. It's how good a soldier you are, how good a Marine, how good an airman, how good a sailor. Hell, maybe even the Coast Guard. I guess they're probably sailors too. I don't know. But it's not really valid arguments, I don't think, that parents have when it comes to trying to keep their kids from the military. It's also, I wouldn't say offensive, but it's kind of annoying, because you do live in the United States. You do enjoy all the great privileges we have. And it's kind of like you're saying, well, my kid doesn't need to serve. There's somebody else's kid who can serve. Well, if everybody had that mindset, then nobody'd be there to serve. So nobody'd be there to look after the country that provides all the great shit that we get. So there's that. But I know parents will say, especially infantry-wise, like, you're going to get nothing out of that. Like, because you don't get trained in a specific skill, a specific job. Or that the skills that we do learn don't necessarily carry over, perfectly into the real world. You're not running around trying to protect the country from inside the country on a day-to-day basis. But what you do learn in the infantry is leadership, teamwork. You learn how to problem solve. You learn how to adapt on the fly. You learn a lot of shit that companies, well, you go to any sort of, you look at managers in a lot of the companies or places that I've worked since I got out, and they're not impressive by any means. They don't really know what the fuck they're doing. And there's a lot of companies that are looking for veterans once they get out to run shit, you know, to be heads of departments because they have these leadership skills. It's literally nothing to them to keep workflow going, keep morale up, and, you know, get the job done, basically, so the bosses can make money. But that's besides the point, because that's making you money too. We all work for the man. Coming from the infantry, and now I know I'm going specifically back to where I came from, you're gonna come up with a lot more than you think you're gonna come up with. I've not had troubles getting jobs since I've been out, and I've been out going on 8 years, or a little over 8 years, I should say, and I've been employed the whole time, and I've never had any trouble transitioning between jobs. It's just we have good work ethic. We know how to do what we're told without being bitches about it, which you see a lot in the civilian workplace. People just not respecting their bosses at all, which is mind-boggling when you come out of the military. Even this far after being out, I still don't understand it. So maybe the question you should be asking yourself is, instead of, you know, will my kid survive, is what will they do next? What won't they be able to do? Where will they stop? Because really, sky's the limit when you get out. There's only a wall there if you decide you don't want to climb over it, under it, or just blow a hole through it. So I guess give your kids a chance. Trust them. They're making this decision and bringing it up to you, and you're kind of being negative about it. If you're watching this, some of you are, but you should kind of be proud that they've even thought of this on their own, especially if they come from a family that doesn't have any military background to it. You know, there's a lot of us that go in, we have family members that serve, so it's less foreign, but for the families out there where your child is going to be the first one to join the military, you have no idea. You have nothing to compare it to. You don't know. So maybe just trust that they've done their research and that they're making a good decision that's going to benefit them for the rest of their life. We can't go on worrying about what ifs all day. If we did that, you never get anything done. So try not to be worried for your kid. I mean, obviously you're a parent and you're going to be, but my mom, she worried. I survived. I'm sure all my other buddies' moms worried. They survived as well. So just give your kids' idea a chance. Go sit with them at the recruiter. Hear what the recruiter has to say. Don't take everything, you know, they say. Take it with a grain of salt. Because those fuckers, they like to not stretch the truth. Some of them do. But, you know, they're there for a purpose. They are recruiters. They're trying to bolster the numbers. But it's for a good cause. It's to keep the country we have going. We got to do that. That's all we got. But thanks for watching. If you've watched, thanks to all my little blue falcons. You guys have been great. And as always, questions, comments, concerns below in my black cargo pants. And suck it.